half a world away, that upcoming June 12th meeting with the North Koreans. There was a kerfuffle, you might recall, when the North Korean leader said, I don't know if I can be there. And not in so many words, but signs right now that the United States is trying to remove or at least potentially ease one of the impediments he had. That is these joint military exercises that we do in the region with the South Koreans. That seems to have done the trick and seems to have kept the green light on for the upcoming talks. Senate Foreign Relations Committee member, Democratic Senator Ben Cardin, on all these developments. Senator, thank you for taking the time.
Neil, it's good to be with you. Thank you.
Same here. Senator, on this development where we've at least held back on these exercises for the time being, I don't know if that's going to last all the way to the June 12th talks, but what do you think of that?
Well, I think we have to be strategic. We understand that the only successful way to eliminate the threat of the nuclear confrontation in the Korean Peninsula is through diplomacy. So I think it's critically important we keep diplomacy on track, but we have to be wide-eyed as to how Kim Jong Un's going to behave. We cannot rely on what he says. We have to make it clear that our objective is to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. There are other issues that need to be talked about, including North Korea's support of terrorism and their human rights violations. So I think we have to be very clear on our objectives, but be strategic in how we use diplomacy.
So when you were talking about human rights violations, would you make that part of whatever agreement we enter into, that the promise to eventually denuclearize the region, the peninsula, is not in and of itself enough?
I think we got to be clear that we have issues of what's going on in North Korea. What we try to achieve through diplomacy, at least initially, is to deal with the nuclear confrontation, the nuclear crisis. That's our objective. We need to have those type of confidence-building discussions that make it clear that there are other issues in addition to the nuclear issues.
Do you think that we are cautious in the way we're going about negotiating with the Chinese on trade, sir, because of this North Korean situation, that the White House might be taking a far more bellicose approach to this, if not for the North Korean situation?
Well, clearly China is a major partner here. The relationship between North Korea and China is complicated, but North Korea very much depends upon China's economy in regards to the sanctions that have been imposed. So therefore, it's important that China be in the same strategy as the United States in resolving North Korea. Having said that, dealing with the way the president has on trade is extremely controversial and inconsistent. And one of the things that has disturbed me is that a lot of what the president's talking about in North Korea is going to require the approval and cooperation of the Congress, and there's been very little conversation between this administration and Congress as to the strategies going into these negotiations. They need to improve that.
Well, there was very little consulting with Congress on the Iran deal that President Obama had, right?
Well, that's true, and Congress acted with a review statute that I was part of developing because we wanted to make sure that there was that type of interaction between Congress and the White House. We haven't seen the Republican leadership suggest yet how we're going to be engaged with the president's conversations in North Korea.
We shall watch very, very closely. Senator, thank you. Good seeing you again.
Thank you.